Hi there. In this video, we will be making a synthwave track in FL Studio. Quick disclaimer, this is my first full-length tutorial ever, so please don't judge me too much. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Before we jump in, here's a quick background on synthwave. If you want to get straight to the creation process, skip to this timestamp on the screen. Synthwave, or retrowave, is an EDM genre inspired by music associated with action and science fiction film soundtracks of the 1980s. Synthwave musicians often try to capture that era's atmosphere. Now that we're somewhat familiar with the genre, let's make the actual song. Set the tempo to somewhere around 80 and 100 BPM. Mine is set to 96. Now we need to make the lead. I decided to use Harmless, which is a built-in plugin, and chose the 80s Keys FG preset because it gives that classic retro synth sound. At the bottom, turn off delay and reverb so that we can add them later and manually control them. Now we need to write the melody. Synthwave typically uses the ascending arpeggiator, which sounds like this. It gives the nostalgic vibe right away. I used an EQ to cut the low frequencies a bit so that the lead doesn't conflict with the bass, and brought up the higher ones. The actual EQ I'm using is FabFilter Pro Q3, but realistically any EQ would get the job done, like Fruity Parametric EQ2 for example. Then I added reverb and delay, OTT, which is a multi-band compressor that gives the sound a bit more punch, and FabFilter Saturn for some saturation. Then we need to make the bass. I used Harmor, which is also a built-in plugin, and used two synths with presets Analog Bass 1 and Analog Bass 2 respectively. On Analog Bass 1, I brought up the lower frequencies and lowered the higher ones. Added OTT, Sound Goodizer, and FabFilter Saturn for some saturation. On Analog Bass 2, I basically did the opposite. I cut the lower frequencies, brought up the higher ones a bit, and once again added OTT, Sound Goodizer, and FabFilter Saturn for saturation. I also added Fruity Stereo Shaper to make it sound a bit wider. Combined, here's the bass line. Now, time for the drums. Let's start off with the kick. It plays the generic 4-on-the-floor beat. I slightly brought up the lower frequencies and added sausage fattener to make the kick more punchy. Now the snare. I slightly cut the mid frequencies and brought up the higher ones and added a subtle reverb for the authentic feel, the hi-hat. I actually used two different hi-hats in the song. Don't be afraid to layer samples, as doing so can lead to unique sounds. Also, don't be afraid to add more subtle details and sound effects, like crash, open hat, and this tom percussion. I also added the subtle piano in the background. The song is complete, but before we hear the end result, if you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. Also, the song from this tutorial is available on streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music, so feel free to give it a listen. Check the link in the description. And there you have it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.